Yes, I do.
Here's what I was told the other day. See what you guys think about this. Some guy I was talking to, and he said, and it might have been Andy, but he said, Necas reminds me of he's a Michael Porter for the Avs.
Ooh.
In that if you have clean ice, a lot of space around him, this guy is dangerous. He's quick. He can really skate. He's a great finesse player.
Okay.
But if you get up in his chili, he struggles a little bit. And I think that's Michael, right? I think that's Michael a little bit come playoff time. I'm not sure we didn't see that with Necas in the Dallas series.
Could be.
I've got a Necas.
I thought that was an interesting comparison. How
I think I can roll with it because part of my Necas conspiracy theory is he's having a hard time figuring out how to fit in. And maybe that's a Michael Porter Jr.
That
sort
does
of
not
thing,
feel
too.
like
well,
he would fit
that's
in.
a Porter thing, too, right?
It is.
That does not feel like that would be a good way to fit in on a hockey team.
No, I think Necas is a square peg in a round hole, and they need to deal him. But it's not because he's a bad player. However.
Well, I don't think Porter's a bad player either.
Right. Now, the difference is Porter has a shared relationship winning a championship with the core of the team. And this is where I'm coming with Necas. Brock Nelson had to replace Casey Middlestat. He didn't have to replace Kadri. Middlestat was trying to replace Kadri.
Right.
But, Nelson's not replacing Kadri. He's replacing Casey Middlestat. Charlie Coyle's replacing whoever our 3C was. It was like a spinning wheel. Okay. But who is Necas replacing?
That's a good question. Well,
he's replacing.
Was he a backup to Nischuskin?
Well, no.
If we lose Nischuskin, we can put him on the wing.
No. I think he's replacing Mikko. Listen, it wasn't a big deal getting rid of Georgiev or Justus Annunen. Nice enough, guys, okay? But I'm just telling you, the fit of them inside the locker room, it was kind of a whatever. Not a big deal. And I'm telling you, Wedgwood and Blackwood, they're just like, they're bros. Like, they got along. It was just so, no wonder they were so successful with it, because they fit in with the rest of the guys so easily, where Justus and Georgiev were kind of a couple of odd ducks. I'm not going to lie. All right? It was weird. But look what Necas has to do. He has to step into that locker room and replace everybody's best friend in Mikko Rantanen. So never mind just the hockey playing stuff and the fact that he's a righty, not a lefty on the power play, and that changes everything Nathan McKinnon really is doing out there as he steers things, and Cale to a certain degree. But you got to step in, and every time they look at you, they're going to be thinking of their best friend, even if it does make sense financially, hockey-wise, the whole thing. And I'll just put it to you guys. I don't think it's easy replacing another really popular player, especially somebody that you've shared a special experience with.
I think it's tough.
So I would defer to you guys on that. But it hit me today like, no wonder Nate just doesn't feel that great with this team. He's kind of put in an impossible situation.
Well, I was telling Nate this the other day. When I went to sign as a free agent with Detroit, I had wore 44 in Atlanta, and I had 42 in New York because somebody else had 44. Paul Westphal. But 44, I wore 44 in college. I wanted 44 when I came to Detroit. They wouldn't give it to me because it was Rick Mahorn's jersey number the year before.
Well, he's a pretty popular guy.
And he was a popular guy.
Very.
And so he wasn't retired.
Yeah.
Wasn't,
just respect.
He's not a Hall star, but they wouldn't give it to me because of what he meant to that team in the locker room.
I think yes and no. I don't think a team, like, once you get in the locker room, nobody's got animosity towards the other human being because you're not Mikko. It's there. Nobody's looking at him like, oh, we don't like you because you're not Mikko. Now, they might not be as bonded to him. They might not have as much chemistry to him. But I think the second you get in that locker room, you'd be surprised how quickly you're just one of the guys.
All right, well, let me ask this question. Does your acceptance inside of any locker room depend upon who you're actually replacing?
No, I think it depends on how you play.
And if you're a tool or not.
I don't because I don't think players look at it that way. Nobody's dumb enough to look at it and be like, hey, we expect you to be Mikko. But they do expect you to play at a level that is high enough for what we think you are capable of playing at.
What if your play isn't to that level then?
Which level?
Well,
to Mikko's or to your own?
And some people think Mikko's a Hall of Famer.
Well,
so
then,
how are you going to replace a Hall of Famer with another Hall of Famer?
I don't think anybody's expecting him to do that.
Yeah, I don't think like anybody's out to get him. I'll tell you this about Nate McKinnon. dude's a prickly pear, okay? Period. The end. He ain't easy on anybody. But his loyalty towards the guys that he's close with is kind of ridiculous. And people will tell you that, how much they respect Nate and that. But Nate's got a high standard. You know, a lot of people said around here, oh, man, Nate's not going to put up with Val's foolishness. There's no way Val could come back on the team because of Nate, blah, blah, blah. Hey, man, Val stepped right back in. Nate was fine with all of it. Why? Because Val's an unbelievable player. And so it was all good. And they weren't, I don't think they were overly close in the first place, in all honesty. They had a good, solid, professional, friendly enough relationship. That wasn't the same with Mikko. Mikko was tight with these guys.
They were boys. Well,
it wasn't. Hey, by the way, it wasn't just Mikko. It was Mikko's girlfriend, wife, whatever, with the rest of the ladies that were part of the team too. That was a strong collection.
But you mentioned a while ago talking about somebody else that they also share that it's a different brotherhood because they won a championship together.
Yeah,
Mikko won a championship with them too.
Correct. So you got a guy that we love, we won with. Our wives are all friends. We're all hanging out together. Like, we went through something. And I get it. I understand the hockey reasons why it happened. So I'm not even sitting here to say that's bad. But the story is coming out that Necas is not comfortable here. And I'm actually sympathizing with Necas here a little bit. Like, I kind of get it. And when we had John Mitchell on the other day, I think you can get a lot of guys to play on the top line that are going to be fine with Nathan McKinnon. What you got to find is that guy that fits the right way, a lefty on the power play that's going to make a difference.
You need a specialty almost.
So I think you deal Necas. I really do. I think he's not a bad guy. He's not a bad whatever. It's too much that, hey man, he ain't Mikko. And whoever you trade,
who's going to be Mikko?
Well, nobody. But whoever they trade for next isn't going to be replacing Mikko either. It's going to be a different vibe. You're going to replace this guy, and I don't think they have bad feelings about him. But I am not surprised to hear that he doesn't feel great in that situation.
Well, listen, you got to start making some moves because you got no money. So how much is Necas making?
Oh, Dan, help me out. I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, I believe the Avs have only got like 1.8 left in their total cap space.
Well, to me, he's the most obvious guy to move to for a bunch of different reasons. Dan, whatever money he makes, whatever that is. And, to me, this is kind of a no-brainer. And if it's time to deal Sammy G, then, okay, you can deal Sammy G too. I'm fine with that as well. So I think there's a couple of obvious kind of moves to make that wouldn't break my heart. That's all. And I'm not saying anything bad about Necas at all. I think he's a good player. He's a really good dude, but he just ain't Mikko. And that's not his fault. It's nobody's fault. So what we got here, Dan? Necas makes 6.5.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And he's an unrestricted. Wow. He's an unrestricted free agent, so if you don't want to pay him...
Well, next year he is.
God, I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. That's a lot of money to free up right there.
He's a free agent next year, so if you're going to move him, you move him before this year.
Theoretically. Or you make a run to win a cup because he's your guy, and you know you're going to lose.
He's the fourth highest paid player on the team.
Yeah.
Or see if he has a great start to the season and see if you can...
Well, I would just move on now. I think the writing's kind of on the wall. I think you can put Lehkonen and Nischuskin with McKinnon and get unbelievable production. You got Gabe's coming back. You got him with Brock Nelson. I don't know what you're doing with Colton, but he could be on the second line. A few other guys could be on the second line. And you got to focus on your power play. But really, there's one forward spot that you could replace if you dealt Necas, and maybe Girard too.
What's Cal making? Slide it up just a little bit so we can see what Cal's dollars are. $9 million, so he's the highest paid.
He's going to get a big raise too.
Oh, he's going to get paid. You're going to maybe not this year, but by next year for sure.
If you got rid of Necas and Girard, you'd save $10 million.
There you go.
That's like 4 contracts.
Well, I'd make the deal.
I don't think they're getting rid of Sammys.
Why?
He's been a core guy for a long time. I think they like him.
I think they got to get better on the power play, and they'll do anything to do it. I don't think there's anything that's going to stand in their way right now.
And Sammy's how you do that?
Devon Taves got paid.
If you got to clear money, you got to clear money. It might be more about the money than the type of player. And Girard has been here for a long time. Necas really has it. I think this is kind of obvious stuff, actually. This doesn't seem all that complicated.
Well, Manson's a free agent. I guess if teams can get something out of Manson for the year and then his numbers go off your books, if you're going to go for it, you get rid of guys like that.
Listen, this is my theory. I'm happy to hear another side to where you guys think Necas is a little grumbly about being here, or at least that's the rumor, as John Mitchell told us yesterday. I mean, if you got another concept
I
on
was
it.
told when they drafted him that he's a Nathan McKinnon light. Well, you got two guys the same thing. Why wouldn't you have them playing the same position but 1 and 2 line? And plus, you said, what was he making? $5 million?
More. 6.5.
6.5. But if he ain't got no left-handed shot,
How much does the dynamics of the locker room really matter?
A lot.
if you're a butthead, a lot. Like a butthead can tear a really bad guy that has strong. Dale Carter, when he got traded here for the Broncos from Kansas City, came in and tore that locker room up after winning a couple of Super Bowls. His team was riding high. You got it. And Shanahan said, hey, we got a chance to put an all-pro corner up in here. And he was a turd.
He's one of the most famous ones.
And he destroyed the Broncos locker room.
How many – let me ask you this, though, because I could really only think of maybe 2 years of my 8 that I would say I had a bad locker room. How many bad locker rooms did you have?
Well, I had –
I don't think it's that common is my point.
I had maybe one so bad that we had a team meeting without this guy saying, don't say anything negative about him in the press because we're trading him.
Wasn't that the Heat?
No, that was Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
The guy's in prison right now. He was
Oh, my God.
diagnosed bipolar schizophrenic and, had been to rehab already for cocaine. And
Okay.
and he'd also made an all-star game. So, I mean, he was a good player.
Right.
But you're always worried which guy's showing up for the game tonight.